Yes. It's Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio. And this is kind of strange because I don't tend to go live this late. And what's James Jamieson still doing up? He normally cries off about 11:30. What's going on? What's going on? Is this a setup? Is this a mind? Hold on. Yeah, I can just have that up there while I describe it. Okay, so schedule of works. Paulie Malignaggi, or however you pronounce it, fired by Showtime. Wiley, UK grime artist, banned by social media for anti-Semitic sentiments. Teofimo, able to get that out of the way. And down the bottom, you see Tommy Hearns beating Pipino Cuevas 40 years ago today. Okay, so that's the schedule of works. Where are we now? And let us go. Yes. Wiley should not have been banned from Twitter. Okay, that's an opening salvo. That's an opening salvo there from James. Okay, I like it. Where are we now? He said he won't come on. He said he won't come on your channel, Rafi. He said he wants a neutral platform. Yeah, well, that's super cool. That's we were here last week. I think we were here last week talking about it. I think Red Glove Militant, well, I know the Red Glove Militant confirmed that, yeah, he was down to host the thing. But as far as I'm aware, no, the fella has not contacted the Red Glove Militant to confirm the arrangement. I've confirmed it with RGM, but you know, the fella in question, he hasn't done likewise. So yeah, he needs to get in contact with the RGM like I did, and let's get this thing crack-a-lacking. Yeah, he sent me some emails, a couple of emails, well, maybe 3 emails. OMG. Okay. Oh, come on. Needs a neutral platform. Yeah. If you want free speech, you have to have the controversial things as well, says James. Okay. So I'm scrolling through. James Jamieson says I think I can go one better than that. Where are we? If I've still there it is. Boom. There you go. That's the one you need to be watching. The FTB video girl. It should say there speaks true age. I'm pretty sure I had another one that with the updated thumbnail, but that's the thumbnail you're looking for, and then you will find out who is Ped. There's a guy who basically called me out on another channel. He used to be a moderator here when the channel, not long after the channel started doing live shows, needed a couple of mods. And since he was in every live show, you know, he seemed like a reasonable candidate. I don't want to go into too much more. Well, I can go into too much more. So I was on another channel, and he called me out. He said, Raf, you've been exposed by Troy. Aaron Daly up in the building. Said you've been exposed by Troy. OMG. When we really know the only thing, Ped, I mean, what's his name? Troy. I think Troy has been, well, do I really need to bring Troy into this? We've already discussed Troy. Troy ain't even into this. But I don't even want to I don't want to insult the fella. I hope he's doing well with his cooking, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, try and expose nothing. We had clear discussions over here. So we all know about the Troy situation. So Troy ain't exposed nothing. But yeah, Ped started, flapping at the jaw, flapping at the gums. So I said, well, come over, we'll do a live. You can discuss your grievances. When I demodded you and blocked you for a day or a few hours. But he was flapping his jaw constantly. I said, well, come on over. And as soon as I said, come on over, we'll do a live, he says, we'll do it on a neutral channel. I said, okay, then, no problem. So RGM was here last week live on the show. And I said, RGM, would you be cool? Would you be cool to host the thing with me and Ped, the clash? And he said, certainly. So, and I ain't heard nothing of Ped. This was like a week ago. And I ain't seen him, I ain't heard of him, done multiple lives. He's free to come in on any multiple lives. He's free to approach RGM, who he had spoken to some time before about his upset at the RAF. Well, the RAF is just living life free. And the man has got me up in his mind. Why? Why is he thinking about the RAF when the RAF, he ain't thinking about him? Until he started flapping his gums, said, yeah, RAF this, RAF that. I said, okay, well, come on, let's do it. But he ain't been nowhere to be found since. Ain't been nowhere to be found. I don't know why he's still looking at me. I don't know why he's still thinking about the Rafi. He's got the Rafi on his mind. Rafi on his mind. Most peculiar. You got the DJ GeorgiePorgie up in the building. Okay, I'm just scrolling through. Well, no rematch clause needed, my friend. No rematch clause needed. I think I've already won. We ain't even had the debate yet, the discussion, the clash. OMG. Man's running away. Damn, I never knew a man could flap his jaws and then get so shook. It's unbelievable. Aaron Daly up in the building. James Jamieson, yeah. But some people just can't follow protocol. Some people just can't follow protocol. Some people think they're bigger than the thing. They think they're bigger than the thing. They don't know that they're actually coming here to learn. You're coming here to learn. You ain't done this shizzle before. You humble yourself and you keep your ears open, keep your eyes open. You learn. That's what I would do. So, you got to humble yourself and open yourself up to learning. Life's too short. Yes. Life's too short. James Jamieson loves the beef. Don't let him trick you, Marla. Chase Athletics up in the building. Marla loves the beef as well. He loves the beef as well. Ain't a little bit of beef stew. Come on, guys. You like a bit of beef stew. As long as you ain't the one cooking it. Okay, so we've had enough joviality. I guess we best get into the topics. Let's get into the topics at hand. So, where do we begin? Let me drop that down. So we got the headlines up there. And I think I can Where are we? Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Where's the first article? Who do you want? Okay, let's have a vote. Where do you want me to start? Do you want me to start with Wiley or Paulie? Which one? Which one? Put your comments in the chat. Where do you want me to start? You want me to start with Wiley or Paulie Malignaggi? Let me know. Put your links in the chat. I'm going silent for a couple of seconds so you can make your decision. Let's go. Okay. So let's go, Paulie. Let's go, Paulie. Let me find the right window. I'll keep it. Okay. So let me see. Let me see where we're beginning here. We got the Aaron Daly. We got the EJ Boxing up in the building. Who else we got? I'm good. Jump on if you wanna. Anybody jump on if you wanna. If Ped's out there, well, Ped will be out there. If you grow the balls, my friend, jump on. And get in contact with Red Glove Militant. Let's get this thing crack-a-lacking. I got the receipts. Okay, so, all right, so Paulie Malignaggi is no longer, what? It's no longer the time of the African American anymore in boxing. Okay, so yes. Freddy Mars up in the building. Hey, Freddy, why didn't you tell me last night? Why didn't you tell me that the sounds were all off in the what do you call it? In the Dennis Rappaport interview. The sounds are all off. Dennis was way too loud. Why didn't you tell me, bro? Next time you come in the chat and something's off like that, Freddy, just say. That's the protocol. That's the protocol we do over here, bro. Okay. Just so for future reference, if it happens again and you come in the chat and the volumes are all over the place, the levels are all over the place, just say something, my friend. Okay. Right. So as you may know by now, Paulie Malignaggi has been fired by Showtime. And ostensibly, the understanding is that he was fired because of certain comments which he made, for which he refused to apologize. Did he even need to apologize? I don't know. I don't know if he needed to apologize. But anyway, let's get into the article. I think highlighted here is the comment or a part of the comment that some people suspect resulted in Paulie Malignaggi being fired after he refused to apologize. But did he need to apologize? I don't know. Okay, so let's get into it. So Paulie, the Magic Man, I didn't know that was the Magic Man. I thought that was Tava. Okay, so Paulie Malignaggi is known for his over-the-top statements. The former two-time world champion was recently fired by Showtime for comments he made months ago. In rebuke. I don't know if he was rebuking him. This piece is a little bit skewed, so I won't be using all the words they use. I'll avoid the emotive words like rebuke. I don't know if it was a rebuke. Was it? Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, so Malignaggi's comments during an interview with IFL TV has cost him his broadcast analyst job. Well, it hasn't. It's cost him his job for Showtime, but he still works. He still works for Sky Sports over here in the UK. So it's cost him one of his jobs. Okay, so according to Boxing Scene, Malignaggi refused a request from Viacom CBS to apologize for his comments and was subsequently fired. Malignaggi was responding to comments made by Devin Haney, as you will recall, when Devin Haney said, what did he say? I'll never let a white boy beat me, said Devin Haney. That's when Malignaggi, according to the article, headed down a path to Showtime oblivion. Let me just have I didn't notice. Sorry, I had the volume real. No, that's no problem, bro. That's no problem at all. Appreciate you coming in and hitting the like button and sticking around for a couple seconds. Appreciate that. Okay, so back into the article. Okay, so Malignaggi went on to say boxing has had its course in history with certain demographics dominating more than others, right? Maybe like 100 years ago, Irish fighters were better, and then the Jews and the Italians came in. I think the African American fighter became the most dominant in the sport in the 70s, 80s, and even the 90s. What else did he say? Okay, so this is one of the comments. I don't know. Was this the comment? What was the comment exactly? This is one of the interesting comments from Paulie that was highlighted in the press. It's the Eastern Europeans that have become the dominant species in boxing. I think stating something like Haney's statement, that could be very dangerous. Where is it? Was that the statement? Was that the controversial statement? It's no longer the time of the African American anymore in boxing. Okay, so I think that statement and the one I just read. Where is it? It's the Eastern European that has become the dominant species in boxing. Okay. So was it that? Try not to join into race conversations. I won't tell you it's a double standard, but it does prove that the entire whole hypothesis of racial oppression is exaggerated. Well, that might be. This might be the one. We've been looking for the one. I'm looking for the statement. Is this the one? I won't tell you that it's a double standard, but I'll tell you that it does prove that the entire whole hypothesis of racial oppression is exaggerated in this country. You know, I don't think this century has given us anything aside from any situations people want to nitpick. What the hell does that mean? Is that even English? I won't tell you that it's a double standard, but I'd tell you that it does prove that the entire whole hypothesis, the whole hypothesis of racial oppression is exaggerated in this century. It's exaggerated in this century. That's interesting. I don't think this century has given us anything aside from any situations that people. What the hell? What is that? What the hell does that mean? That's not even. I don't understand. I don't understand what he's trying to say. The first part I can decipher. The second part is just poor English, so it's hard. But the first part, I tell you, it does prove that the entire whole hypothesis of racial oppression is exaggerated in this century. Okay. I think I can understand what he's saying there. Okay. Exaggerated in this country. Okay. That's one statement. And the other statement, the other big statement is it's no longer the time of the African American anymore in boxing. Was that part of it? Couldn't have been that, surely. It's no longer the time of the African American anymore in boxing. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go into the chat, see what you have to say, and then I'm going to come in with what I'm thinking. Oh, damn. And James has popped in as well. Okay, James. Because we've had situations here in the UK where we've had some very large and expensive public inquiries which have found that systemic racism is very, very real. I don't know though. Does that warrant you losing your job? That's the question. I'm not saying it does. I'm not saying it doesn't. That's why we got the show. That's why we're talking about it. Okay. But thanks for bringing that. Thanks for making that point, though. Chase Athletics. After Floyd death, who's Floyd? After Floyd death, who's Floyd? Marla says Paulie got fired for not getting down with the program. Very sad times we live in. Frank Fletcher says Paulie wish he was black. Does he? I don't know, man. I think he's a happy Italian. The headline is very misleading. What is the headline? It's no longer the time of the African America anymore in boxing. I don't know because it's hard to pinpoint the exact statement. So without knowing the exact statement, how can you say what's misleading and what's not? I don't know. It's very tricky. That's one man's opinion. For a man to lose his job over it is ridiculous. The PC time we live in where everyone is offended by everything. Systemic racism is nonsense. Everyone, I think James means to say everyone is equal under the law. Can you name a law that's different based on race? Well, when I was a young man, I'm more seasoned now. I used to get stopped in my car more than my white counterparts, my white friends. So the law. There's no law that says you were talking slowly when I clicked on the video, but I've stayed and it's good, interesting comments. Thank you. Okay. Well, there we go then. Thank you. Okay. Problem solved. So can you name me one law that's no. The law's written the same, but it's applied. I'm afraid it's applied differently I'm going to come to you, James, not ignoring you. George Floyd, I get you. Yeah. So the law, it's one law applied differently. And we see the law being applied differently in many different territories. I think that's a reality. I don't think even the police would deny that. And we look at. I don't know how deep do I want to go into this? How deep do I want to go into this? I don't know. I think I'll keep it there. For now. I can go deeper. We can go deeper. Systemic racism is very real, coupled with unconscious bias, can be very bad. Yeah. So systemic racism is a fact of life. In organizations, that affects employment, and this has been found by government inquiries. So, okay, I see. So there we are, and in comes James. James, how do you do?
Very good.
Excellente. Yeah.
So I think this topic is a brilliant one to cover because this covers everything really. It covers everything about humans, and obviously boxing falls underneath that. So
yeah.
This is a very but I feel like it's very, very touchy. So you can say the wrong thing, like he said, and it gets twisted, and it gets it goes against him for maybe not what he meant to say, because every single word it means something else, and there's different definitions in the thesauruses and whatever.
Totally.
But I think what Paulie said was not anything bad. If you read the headline, it says it's no longer the time of the African American anymore in boxing, which is just stating a fact. What he's saying is saying the top boxers at the moment are Eastern European, which is just a fact.
It's not a fact. I'll challenge that fact shortly. It may be a fact or it may not, but I'm going to bring up some evidence which contradicts Paulie. But carry on, though.
Yeah, I think what he's talking about is the top. So he's talking about whatever. But especially, but African Americans only African Americans. So he's talking about one group itself. But the whole thing about him getting banned because of what he said is ridiculous. It goes against free speech. You should be able to say whatever you want. I think whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because unless everyone is treated equally and everyone can say whatever they want, then at that point no one can say anything because then it gets said as hate speech.
Yeah.
So it's terrible, really. It's all cancel culture, and it's really affecting everybody's lives and affecting what we consume in the media. Because we now can't consume Paulie Malignaggi in Showtime anymore. So we lose his views on boxing, which is a great loss. Which is terrible,
totally.
Which is terrible for the sport. For a few comments that I bet it was a very, very small, minute, maybe 1% got affected by, and that 99% now have to go without without the boxing knowledge that he has. I'd like to know for your views on it as well.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, of course. I'm going to drop the link in the chat again, just in case anybody wants to join us.
Yeah, please do, because this one, I think the more people you've got debating and really coming at different angles, because everyone's from a different demographic. No one's the same, really. Everyone's got grandparents come from which way, and everything's got something in it.
Totally.
More minds put together equals a better show, I reckon.
Well, we'll have a good show. We can have a great show with just one, but two's even better. And saving grace was, I think my saving grace was, there's two factors. There's one I don't want to say because I have a large structure. I'm a large structured fella. Maybe that was a bit of a deterrent. And another deterrent when they did stop me was my education. My education, my speech. It meant that they kind of they were a little bit wary when they started interacting with me, and they found that I was not some kind of little imbecile. I was a well-spoken, intelligent man. It was very clear to them. And I think that once they had pulled me over and started to speak to me, they weren't in any rush generally to try and get funny after their initial getting funny. EJ Boxing Live is up in the building.
What's going on, peoples? What's going on, Rafa? Slow roast. What's happening, slow roast?
Yeah, man. We just slow roasting over here. Almost blew out my damn eardrums with the new mic or whatever.
You me?
Yeah, almost blew out my damn eardrums with your new mic. You showing off with your new mic?
No, man. The mic's always been the same. I think I just was a bit loud there, innit? So we're roasting Paulie today, then.
I don't know. Are we roasting Paulie? Should he be roasted?
Yeah, we're roasting Paulie. It's a Sunday roast with Paulie. That's what we're gonna do right here, boy. We're gonna roast Paulie. With some potatoes and some gravy.
Yeah.
Some cabbage and some, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Carrots.
Yeah, man. Shoot your shot. Let's get
listen, it. Yeah. I've interviewed Paulie a lot of times since he come to London. I was there like when I think it was George Groves Carthrot second one. Numerous times in the press conference, I sat down and talked to Paulie when he's actually fight. You know what I mean? He's always entertaining and all that stuff like that. He's from Bensonhurst in New York, right? Yeah, Bensonhurst in New York, right? And that area is known, for racism, towards people of color. But that's how American is now, He got a friend here called Petey Cars. I'm still friends with him on Facebook, right? And he's saying that the world is too sensitive now. You know what I mean? You can't say anything without offending people and stuff like that. Now, the bottom line is, like Devin Haney said his comments. He was on 78 TV. And then Umar at London Weather, when he interviewed him, he asked him. And what Paulie said there is what he said is it's like, brother, it's just shocking. Because the thing is, you're not just a normal guy. You're a professional boxer. You actually analyze on TV. You know what I'm trying to say to you, bro? The views you're coming out with, like, bro, like, offensive, man. like species. And Europeans are the dominant species. I mean, you freaking crazy, bro. Are you fucking crazy, bro? Like real talk, bro. Like I think he was offended by Devin Haney. Like that shit. Like I don't know what routed him, yeah. But in the end of the day, yeah, like you know what I mean, like about the dominant and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's a silly question because, like, if you look at boxing in general, right? It's this whoever's on top, right? Like I'm doing videos on the championship, right? And obviously some black fighters wasn't allowed in to fight. They had the color belt and so on, right? So you know there's racism there, right? Now the species thing is one thing, but saying there's no racism, bro, like you know what I'm saying? Not enough people need to understand. If you're not from color, then maybe you don't understand, and maybe you don't want to understand. But there is like people of color experience it on daily basis, yeah, that some people never understand, yeah, of how it is. Like when you go to a shop, like you know the security's at the front of the shop and they start following you around the shop, like you're like, what, you know what I mean? Like there's stuff like that, you know, when you're leaving the shop, you know, people are looking at you a certain way. I mean, when you're driving your car, like stuff that most people who are not of color do not experience, right? And obviously with the situation with George Floyd, stuff like that, yeah, Emmett Till, I mean, bruv, Paulie's from America. Like the racism in America is overtly right in your face, yeah. The KKK, they have groups who hang people and all that stuff. So you can't say there's no how could you say there's no racism? I think or he thinks it's not as bad as it. You should you're not of color of a color to be saying that. Now there's prejudice towards Irish, Italians, and stuff like that, right? But there's not like a whole system geared into the oppression of people of color. So when it came to what he said about European fighters are dominating, European fighters are doing better than they ever done before. It doesn't mean they're dominating. Like
I got proof they're not dominating. I'm gonna pull up.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. That doesn't mean they're dominating. They're doing much better. Yeah. They're doing much better because European Russia, remember America and Russia are not friends, you know. And America's still not really on good grounds with Cuba either. But as of late, yeah, like Russia and America, it seems like, especially with Donald Trump, definitely they're cool. Like they're fine. So a lot of Russian like Sergei Korev, and all the UK, and also because the Soviet bloc, the war broke down. From what year was it? 1990 or something? Was it 1990? The war broke down. Russia, the Soviet Union broke down. So when you have Lithuania and all these countries, eventually they're gonna start. And America's like the land of the hope and thing, whatever. They're gonna start. Obviously, the next generation of European fighters are gonna start coming in. Another as well. Boxing is the poor man's sport. Now, them guys in Europe, right? They're not necessarily rich over there. So if they can make some more money over boxer, they're definitely gonna start making a thing. But it don't mean you're dominant. Like certain people are good, great. Like you got, even if you go to the lower weights, right? There's a lot of Japanese.
Hold on a second. Let me just stop you there. So James made a point. Also, it's down to the way you interact with the cops. Well, if I'm driving my car, well, like I said, it doesn't happen so much now. I mean, that was when I was a younger guy. If I'm driving my car, then I'm not interacting, am I? I'm in the car. So what? I'm not interacting. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm being pulled over in disproportionately, that's just one example. That's just the most easiest example because you can count. Well, you can say to your mates, well, how many times are you pulled over last year? And your white mate says like 1, and you say, And he says, how many times are you pulled over? And I go like 7. So, that's a great disparity. When you do that with various people, and you start to slowly realize, hold on a sec, there's something going on here. And moreover, there have been documentaries galore about cops when they admit certain ways, the way they were, certain ex-cops about how they used to operate. So there's no question, Jamieson, that and when I say cops, I'm just using that as one example of systemic racism. I'm not just saying focus on the cops, not at all. I'm just saying using that as a very easy measure, It's easy to measure. It's easy to analyze. It's easy to chop up. Okay, I'm going to come back to you in a second, EJ. Systemic racism. It's an easy measure. So it's not really about the police. They're just an easy way to measure the level of hidden systemic racism because they got numbers. Okay, so let me go through the chat here. James Jamieson says, I'm not saying racism doesn't exist, but you implied that in a previous statement, though. Not that that's a problem for me, because if you believe racism doesn't exist, then you should feel free to say so. Okay, let me get in here. El Padrino, if you have an alternative view, then write down what your alternative view is, or let me put the link in the chat. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so if you have an alternative view, write down your alternative view. So, be constructive. That statement was not constructive. Okay, as we continue. Yeah, so what if he's white? Exactly. A stolen car because it's too nice. Well, yeah, I mean, back in the day, my cars weren't too nice. I mean, they got nice, but originally, not really. Okay. Doesn't matter, Frank. That's not meant to. What's going on here? Systemic racism, that would mean the legal system discriminates based on race. No. It means that it doesn't mean the legal system discriminates based on race. It means that systems and institutions discriminate based on race. So that's places of employment, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so boom. Yes, yeah, okay, that'll work. Okay, so we're gonna go through. We're looking at Paulie's statement that the what did he say? The Eastern European is the dominant species or something of that description. Okay, so we look at heavyweight. We're gonna go through all the weight categories. So we start off with the heavyweight, and we have the WBC belt who's got the WBC? Well, it's Tyson Fury and Dillian White with the interim. Then we have the IBO, that's Anthony Joshua. WBO, that's Anthony Joshua. IBF, that's Anthony Joshua. WBA, that's Anthony Joshua. And the ring belt, Tyson Fury. Okay. And we got, so the WBA is Anthony Joshua. That's the super. The regular is Manuel Cha. He's what is he? He's Arabic descent, and Trevor Bryant. So we got African descent, we got English, Irish descent of Tyson Fury, we got the Jamaican descent of Dillian White, the African descent of Anthony Joshua, and the Arab descent of Manuel Cha, and the African American descent of Trevor Bryan. That's the heavyweight division. Then we go into the cruiserweights. We got Makabu in the cruiserweights with the WBC. The IBO is Kevin Lerana. So he's a European-looking guy, maybe a European Spanish guy. Dorticus is African descent, African-Cuban, Afro-Cuban. And then for the WBA Super, it's Arsen Guadalmarian. Regular is Debu Shamanov, sound Russianish. And then Ryan Murphy. I don't know where the hell he comes from, but he ain't Eastern European. So that's the cruiserweight. Then we go to the light heavyweight. We got Arthur Betterbeef. He's an Eastern European. Dominic Bosel. Sounds, yeah, that probably fits the description, Eastern European. So light heavyweight, yeah, Betterbeef again. Then we got Jean Pascal. He is African descent, African Latin, I guess, or African American. And then we got Dominic Bosel again, yeah, so that's Eastern European guy. Ring belt is vacant. So big representation at light heavy with the Eastern European. Let me get back over to the chat. Let me see what's going on over here. Yeah, he's up with that. Walk up to a black man and the N word. Yeah, he's up with that. He's up with that. Okay. Otherwise, we seem to be in good shape. Okay. Let us continue. So that was the light heavyweight. Okay. So we go to super middleweight. We got David Benavides, Latin fellow, Latin guy. Billy Joe Saunders, a European guy, but not Eastern European. Caleb Plant, another European American, not Eastern. We got Callum Smith, an English guy, English European. We got Saul Canelo Alvarez, Mexican guy, not Eastern European. And the ring belt holder is Callum Smith. That's for the super middleweight. Okay, for the middleweight, we have Jamal Charlo. That's an African American. Saul Alvarez, Mexican. Gennady Golovkin, he's an Eastern European guy. Gennady Golovkin twice. We got Demetrius Andrade, African American. We got Saul Canelo Alvarez again, Mexican American or Mexican. Ryoto Murata, maybe he's in Ryoto. That's a Japanese guy. I think Chris Eubank Jr., Jamaican father, English mother, and the Mexican Saul Canelo Alvarez again. So that was for the middleweight. For the super welterweight, we got Jamal Charlo, that's African American. Patrick Teixeira, what is he? Some kind of Latin guy. Jason Rosario, that's a Latin African. And Erizlandi Lara, African descent. Okay, so that is a super welterweight. I think we're getting the point across here. Welterweight, African Americans, Errol Spence, Familia. What is he? A European or a Latin guy, but European descent. Latin surname. Terence Crawford, African American. Errol Spence, African American. Manny Pacquiao. Where are we? Yeah, Manny Pacquiao is, what is he? Was he an Asian guy? Asian? Philippines, Asian? Asians? Is that Asian, James? Is Philippine Asian? Super welterweight, super lightweight, sorry. Jose Ramirez, he's a Latin guy. Jeremiah Ponce, he's a Latin guy. Where are we? Ramirez, Latin guy. Josh Taylor, Scottish European guy, not Eastern European though. Mario Barrios, Latin guy. Alberto Pali, there's an Afro-Latin guy. So no Eastern European representation at the top there either. And that was the super lightweight. Okay, so where are we now? Too much racism. A man is a man. Yep. But we got to talk about this shizzle. Let me continue. We're almost to the end of this little segment here. So stick with it. So lightweight. Let's go to lightweight. We got Devin Haney, African American. Vasil Lomachenko, an Eastern European guy. So he fits that category that Paulie Malignaggi was talking about. Teofimo Lopez, he's a Latin guy. Javonta Davis, African American. So once again, there's a good representation across the board of African American, Latin, and 2 African American, 1 Eastern European, 1 Latin American at the top of the lightweight division. Okay, so as we proceed, super featherweight. So we got Miguel Berchelt. Miguel, is that a Latin guy? Berchelt sounds kind of European, but Miguel sounds Latin. Is he a Latin guy? I think he's a Latin guy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jamel Herring, African American. Joseph Diaz, Latin American. We got Leo Santa Cruz, the WBA. You know, they got 3 champions. Leo Santa Cruz, Latin. Rene Alvarado, Latin. Chris Colbert, African American. Okay, so we go down to featherweight. We got Gary Russell Jr., African American. Josh Warrington, European, but not Eastern European. Where we at? Where we at? Okay, uno momento. Let me just see what's going on here. Hold on. Okay. So, okay, right. So, okay, we're good now. So, Leo Santa Cruz, Latin guy, Exucan, Chinaman, Chinese guy, and that was what the featherweight. Now we go down to the super bantamweight. Only got a couple of weights to go, so stick with it. Stick with it. Nordine Obali. What is that? Who is that? Where does he come from? Nordine Obali. Is he an Arab guy? Michel Banquise. What is he? Afro-African origin guy. Casimiro. What is that? Asian guy. Inoue. Japanese guy. That's an Asian guy. Rigondeaux is an Afro-Cuban African guy. Yeah. So what we got there? We got Asian, African, Asian and African. Okay. So now we're down to super flyweight. We got Estrada, Latin guy. Gideon, however you pronounce that, African guy, African origin guy. We got Ioka, Oriental guy, Asian guy, and Anakas. What is he? A Mexican guy, Latin guy, Roman Gonzalez, and yeah, that's a Latin guy. Joshua Franco, another Latin guy or a Mexican guy. And Estrada, a Latin guy. Okay, so that was super flyweight. So once again, scarce, not much Eastern European at the top at all. So now we're at flyweight. We got Julio Martinez, Latin guy. Maximo Flores, Latin guy. Moruto Merathin, African origin. Artem Dalkan. Yeah, that's the Eastern European guy there. Luis Concepcion, Latin guy. Okay, and that was the flyweight. Now we go down to light flyweight. And we have Shiro, Asian guy. Soto, Asian guy. Alvarado, Latin guy. Kyokashi, Asian guy. And then we got Matilon, that's an African origin guy. Carlos Cantilas, Afro-Latino. Okay, so we come down to the last weight category. Everybody breathing a sigh of relief. Bloody hell, Raf, I thought you'd never get to the end. Minimum weight. Mansuri, who is he? An Asian guy. Joyi, that's an African guy. Mendez, Latin guy. Tanduran, Asian guy. Mitrotron, Asian guy. So we have, well, what do you think of that, James? What do you think about that?
Yeah, but I was just looking at the interview that Paulie did, the IFL interview, and what he says is what the media has said is completely different than what he actually said.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was gonna not quote, but because it's going off my memory. But
yeah,
what he says is that the dominant species we're always gonna win. He says that in the future, the next batch or whatever he says, the next batch or the future or whatever boxing is going to get their ass kicked by, is going to get their chance to get their ass kicked by Eastern European fighters. And then the line afterwards, he then goes on to say, there's nothing better than a European fighter. So it's very much a contrast than what the media says. So the media says that is directly right now. He says that they're saying that what Paulie said was the Eastern Europeans are the best at the current moment in time. What he's saying is, he says that on the come up, these younger Eastern European fighters are going to get their time and they're going to be the best. and he then goes off to say that he says the European fighters at the current moment are the best. So obviously they get spun, because if you go on the what do you got, news articles, they actually say like this one by WBN. They have like the Eastern European part in brackets because he never said it, but they quote it to say what he meant to say, if you know what I mean. When it's in brackets, he didn't actually say it. A lot of it's misquoted to what he actually said. So I honestly don't think he said anything wrong, bad, or needs to be sacked over. It's terrible.
Need to be sacked over. No, I think that what he was saying was that. Well, where's the quote? Where's the quote? I don't want to misquote the guy. Where is that quote? Not there. Oh, there it is. It's no longer the time of the African American anymore in boxing. Let me share this so everybody can see what I can see. Boom. Okay, am I sharing? Yeah, I think I am. Okay, so you'll see in a few seconds. It's no longer the time of the African American. It's no longer the time of the African American anymore in boxing. What else? Where else?
See, the question is, Raf, is that offensive? Is saying it's no longer the time of the African American?
No, it's his opinion. It's no longer the time for the African American. It's an opinion.
Boxing has been compartmentalized as being dominated by different. He was right, but saying it was dominated by such and such, the Irish, the Jews, the whatever. Then it was the African American, and then it's current now. So I think what he said is right. To be honest, it's not nothing to be sacked over again. I keep on getting back to that point, but there's nothing to get triggered about with that statement, I don't think.
My position is Paulie was entitled to say what he wanted to say, what I feel about what he said. I feel that should he got fired for it? Damn. I mean, it seems harsh to get fired for uttering an opinion like that.
It's just like Wiley, though, wasn't it?
Well, we haven't come to Wiley yet. We haven't come to Wiley yet. Wiley's next.
It's the same situation with like the firing, or not firing, but it's banned fired.
Yeah, it's very. There is a symbiosis betwixt the two. My position, I guess we're coming to the end of this now. My position is that should Paulie have been fired for what he said? I find that difficult to say. That was a firing worthy statement. However, what I will say is that Paulie was incorrect. That the African American fighter, his time is done, which is what he was effectively saying. It doesn't. The rankings don't bear that out. In response to Paulie's statement that the African American fighter is done, that's why I pulled up the graphic. No, I would disagree, and that more importantly, that the Eastern European are on the takeover. Well, the facts don't bear that out. You got African American riding high. You got Latinos riding high. You got Asians riding high, and you got some Eastern European riding high. But I don't see no Eastern European takeover. I don't see the Eastern European overthrowing the African American, the Latino, or the Mexican. No, I don't see it. So I disagree with Paulie, but I do believe he has a right to his opinion. Where Paulie messed up for me was when he said that the systemic racism is exaggerated in this century, because it was in this century when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat for a white man on the bus. It was in this century where a black person could not go into certain shops or hotels or restaurants. You know, you see that with Ray Charles. If you watch Ray Charles films, where was that? When was that? In the 50s? In the 50s, with the Sonny Listons of this world. No, you can't go into that shop. You can't eat in there. Muhammad Ali's of this world. No, you can't go into that hotel. You got to go to one down the road, etc., etc. Did Paulie forget that all of those things occurred within this century? Some 50, a mere 50, 60 years ago? So I think Paulie's misguided, misinformed, poorly educated on the matter. I think systemic racism, certainly in America, is very, very real. And also in the UK, it's been proven to be very, very real. So I don't agree with Paulie's point of view. I think his phraseology was inflammatory. Species, he uses the term species. I think that was a very poor term to use. And, I have to wonder, was Paulie flirting? Was he flirting? Was he flirting a little bit with his words? Was he a little bit flirtatious? Was he hinting? Seems very, very weird. But should he have lost his job for it? That's the big question. The difference with Paulie and Devin Haney is that Paulie apologized for what he said. And I think he was right that he apologized. Should Paulie have apologized? They're implying that if he'd apologized, he'd have kept his job. Should he have apologized for something where he felt he didn't need to apologize? Personally, I think Paulie was flirting with something. What was he flirting with? He was flirting with controversy, with the terms like systemic racism has been exaggerated, implying that it has not been a factor in this century. Very foolish remark. Very, very foolish. Should he have lost his job for his foolishness? It's tricky. It's very, very tricky. On an instinctive level, I say no. Should he have apologized? I think rather than apologized, perhaps clarified his statement. That's my opinion on the matter. I don't think he should have apologized, but if he felt that he was misquoted, he was free to clarify. He could have clarified, come out and say, hold on, this is what I actually meant. And then I think it would have been cool in the gang, but Paulie didn't clarify. As far as I'm aware, he didn't clarify. His statements seemed like he was some kind of flirting with trouble, using terms like species, and using the incorrect statement that systemic racism is not really a factor in this century. It's been exaggerated. Not as serious as some people think. I think he was misguided, but should he have lost his job? That's the question. And I find that's a hard one. On an instinctive level, I say no, he shouldn't have lost his job. But on the flip side of that, I think he should have come out, and if anything was misunderstood or if he felt he was misquoted, he should have come out and clarified. Over to you, James.
Yeah, I just want to come back and just agree with like a lot of things that you say, because I think you're spot on. You hit the nail on top of the head. Or whatever they're saying is, he shouldn't have been sacked. But I think I saw a comment saying, one of the comments says ESPN isn't a free speech platform. Well, he didn't say it on ESPN. He's employed by ESPN. He said it on IFL.
Yeah.
So he's not going on the ESPN. He's not saying, he's not spurting out whatever. So there is that as well. And I think the problem is we're going towards a time or a place in the world where it's going to be, everyone is going to get so bland because you're going to, no one's going to say anything. that could be portrayed in any which way or whatever, racist or any kind of trigger into anybody. So it's getting rid of Paulie, because Paulie represents a certain type of people. You got who's the guy that does the Breakfast Club guy?
The Breakfast Club. There's a bunch of them. Charlemagne.
That's right, Charlemagne. Charlemagne's very much like for African American. He's the complete opposite side. So you need all the spectrum to end racism. You need everyone to express their views in the same manner. If you can't express your views in the same manner, then you're never going to end racism. Or equality, because it goes into equality more than racism, because you get rid of a racism, you need equality, so it goes more towards equality.
100 within the last 100 years. Okay, so yes. Let me just scroll quickly through this before we get on to Wiley, which is in the similar, very, very similar vein. Where are we at? It's his opinion. Yep. Aaron Daly. That was the last century, just saying. The last century, it was within the last 50, 60 years. 60 years, within 60 years, when segregation was still in place in certain places of America.
So 60 years to the date, I think it is.
Yeah. The Ministry of Free Speech might come this way. Ministry of Free Speech. An employment contract can extend beyond work hours. Yes. Okay, we got some varied opinions there, all of them appreciated. And I think we've chopped and diced. Spent about an hour on that. Dime. Okay, so let's get straight into the Wiley situation. The Wiley cat. Okay, so for those who don't know, for those abroad, Wiley. Am I even sharing my screen? I'm probably not even sharing the damn screen. Let me do that. Boom. I think you should be seeing that now. Okay, you're seeing that now. So so who is Wiley? For those abroad who don't know. Okay, so Wiley is a grime artist. What is grime? Garage. What is garage? Grime?
No, grime's not garage. It's the complete opposite. Grime is it's
hold on. Garage is what it started off as, but garage was a USA art form, music form. But it was adapted in the UK, was adapted for MCs, UK MCs speaking in the UK lingo, not speaking with American accent, speaking with the UK lingo. And it was still called garage, but it clearly wasn't garage. Garage, which I think came from Chicago, it clearly wasn't garage, but it was an offshoot of garage for UK MCs. And Wiley was a pioneer of that offshoot, which later went on to be known as grime. Okay, so but originally he was a garage MC. It's a garage MC, but now they call it grime. Changed over, the name changed to grime, and that is Wiley. He's known as the godfather of grime because he was like a forerunner, a purveyor, one of the first. So he's known as the godfather, and he's come under fire. He's come under scrutiny. He has been banned from certain social media platforms, one being primarily Twitter. He made some statements which were deemed to be anti-Semitic, and they originally gave him a 7-day ban. But then after the furore, they have changed that 7-day ban to a life ban. So Wiley, godfather of grime, very well known in the UK, in Europe, has received a lifetime ban on Twitter for remarks which were deemed to be anti-Semitic. So let's get into the background of the story. So Wiley was managed, his management company was run by two fellas of a particular faith. And he's been upset with them for some time. And he let rip. Apparently said he was leaving them. He was splitting with them, or this was his way of saying, yeah, it's over. He's probably told them personally, and then he just went on Twitter now and made some remarks which I have seen and which I can confirm. I will read some of them perhaps. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for doing so. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to read them. I'll just leave a link to them. But I can confirm that they were very aggressive tweets. They're aggressive tweets. He was upset with his management company run by a couple of gentlemen of a particular faith. And he is, as a consequence of those tweets, which I shall not go into. I will leave the link to the article in the permanent comment section. But yeah, I can confirm. I would say they were harsh to the religion in question. However, Wiley says, let me get into the article. Wiley, I'll paraphrase. I don't want to get in trouble. I'll paraphrase. So Wiley effectively says that, listen, this music thing, this black music thing, the companies, the management companies, the record companies, all along the chain, it is run by people of a particular faith, particular kind of people with a particular faith. And he says that in itself is a form of racism of sorts. When you got people of a particular faith in positions of power over an art form from a different type of people, from a different set of people, but the people who are pulling the strings are different people. So while he says that's questionable, I'm paraphrasing, that in itself is questionable. While he goes on to say that he apologizes for directing that at the whole group instead of just simply at the individuals in his workplace. He's talking about his management and the record company people. So he's apologized for generalizing and putting it out there about the whole group when really it was directed to the specific people involved in his dispute with his record company and his management group. As a result of his tweets, he has been permanently banned from Twitter. James.
Yeah, I'm obviously of the age group that would listen to grime or be around grime. So obviously I'm
of the age group that started it.
Yeah, I think the kind of grime that you're on about is very, because grime only really come about like 2009, 10, 11 maybe.
Okay.
See, grime's all about like it's underground, like rap music, but just English spin-off.
Yeah.
Mainly Black Londoners that are a part of it. That's the kind of where it spun from.
Okay.
So obviously Wiley's the godfather. He's one of the first ones that kind of he wasn't the first, but he was the first that made it big. He was the one that, and then obviously Stormzy came along and he made it massive. So you got that. But a lot of things that Wiley said was you can see why they're offensive to some.
Yeah.
But in the same light, you can see why he said them.
Yeah.
And why can't he express his views on a certain subject that may be perceived? That's the thing. It may be perceived. Some people may perceive it. Some people may not perceive it as racism. So why can't you express your views on something that may be perceived as racism? And put them out. You can put them out there. So I could say something about global warming. I could say global warming's a myth, and someone will perceive that as me, spouting hate speech to koala bears or whatever because I'm burning them down. That's the same kind of thing. So that I think that's where it comes to. So you can see why he got banned, but at the same time you can see why he shouldn't be banned, because it's a slippery slope, and before you know it, you're going to hit a time where, like I say, because grime he comes from. Grime is the only thing. Not the only thing. Is the main African black black
music art form.
Dare I say that? But it's the main one, and it's the one that can really be resonates with that community.
Yeah.
So obviously, he's the main.
Yeah.
He's just coming out and saying a few things, and a lot of the things that he didn't have his OB, was it MBE or OBE?
MBE, yeah.
He said he didn't have his MBE for a year because the fella had it, the Jewish guy. He didn't have it at all, and he said he can't do anything because he gets Jewish lawyers on him, and
let's not use the actual term, a particular type of lawyer.
Yeah, so he gets they said the whole community. There's a whole community based around that to suppress him.
Yeah,
and that's what he said. That's a system. There's a system in place to suppress him. So that is systemic racism. Because it's a system and it's suppressing, so it's racism. So he said a lot of things he said was true.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There's definitely that point of view. There is definitely that point of view. You can also say, well, there are certain types of people. I think what he was saying was that there was certain types of people in positions of power, and so that, it's just pretty much what you said. It's just pretty much what you just said. I'm waiting for the comments to come through. So I can highlight some of them on this particular topic. Where are we? Okay, we're going down a road as a society where you either get down with the program or don't speak, because if you do, you'll be destroyed financially and on social media. Yes, I have to agree with that. Excuse me. Philip Carl Roberts up in the building. How do you do? That's pretty well summed up. We're going down a road as a society where you either get down with the program or you don't speak, because if you do, you will be destroyed financially and on social media. So I think that Wiley's points, I think you summed it up pretty well there, James. I'm trying to top it, but I think you kind of nailed it. Wiley's saying that his management were of a certain type. The record company, the people in charge of the record company were of a certain type. And then if he wants to sue them, the people he has to go to sue them, they're the same type of the people he's trying to sue. And so that's an interesting point. It's a very, very interesting point. Those are the two guys. I'm not going to really dwell on the Wiley thing because it's very similar to the Paulie thing. That was the synergy betwixt the two. The difference is that Wiley apologized. and clarified his statements. But it looks like that's the end of him on social media. I think that I don't think that Wiley they're talking about that they want to see him prosecuted now. They want the police to prosecute him. I think that's kind of interesting. Interesting that they want Wiley to get prosecuted when that what does that show? What does that actually show? It doesn't change who are in charge of management companies. It doesn't change who are in charge, who are running the record companies. It doesn't change who are in charge of the legal teams. Wiley's saying that they're all the same people. And those people aren't representative of the artists. Those people aren't representative of the people, of the artists, well, of the people making the music. They're just in charge of the music. They're the lawyers, they're the management, they're the record companies, and they're all run by the same people. I think that's what Wiley was saying. So I think the message there is that you can say things. It's just how you say them. There's a tune. It ain't what you do. It's the way that you do it. And perhaps this can be applied to this situation. It ain't what you say. It's the way that you said it. I think Wiley could have said it in a different way. I think as an adult, we know we have to be careful with our words. You can say the same thing using different words. So it comes down to, does it come down to word selection, James? If Wiley had used different words, would the outcome be different?
I think see that's a very good point there, but see the problem is a lot of them, because if you use different words, the words have the same meaning in effect. So in effect, he's saying the same thing, but I think he might have missed it. It might not have like come under the. I think it's because he said a lot of other things as well. He said like the group's country, because they're in a not a country, they're in a place in the country. He said they don't own it. I think that one. He said a few other things as well. Yeah, because there's lots of tensions over there. He said a few other things like that.
He did. But what I'm saying is that it doesn't change what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if Wiley had used different words.
See, I don't think he should. I don't think he could have used different words, but I think he used the right word selection, because that's the words that he wanted to use. And free speech is free speech. So he used his free speech to say what he wanted to say, and that's what I think is it should be out there, because if he starts going too far into it, it's not what he wants to say. Then it's what someone else wants to say. Someone else's rhetoric. It's not his, and that's what I believe. And that's what I guess what he probably thinks the same as well, because that's what he said.
But he apologized.
He didn't really, because if you watch the Sky Sports interview, he skips over the apologize part. He says he understands why they. He says he wants to apologize for generalizing. That's yes. He wants to understand. I apologize for generalizing, but not for the comments themselves. That's what he says.
Yeah,
the comments themselves.
Yeah. So if he'd have used different words, not generalizing, then the outcome could have been different.
Yeah, but like I say, is it his words at that point? It's then what someone else wants him to say, because then it's not, it's completely different then, isn't it? The meaning's gone. The meaning's not the same.
The meaning's gone. The meaning's not the same, but you can use different words to say the same things.
Yeah, I think you go around. You go around in circles for a year on this one.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I just giving you the opportunity to express yourself. So yeah, I think we both expressed our positions on the matter. I say, James, I think saying he used the exact right words because those are the words he wanted to use, whereas my stance is that he could have said what he said using different words and being in a different situation right now, i.e. not be banned on social media. And I think we have hundreds, if not thousands of years of diplomacy, of one tribe learning how to speak to another tribe so that they could hopefully coexist for the greater part in harmony. So I put it to you and everyone that we have thousands of years of protocol when it comes to diplomacy. And so I'm a firm believer in choosing your words carefully. I'm also a firm believer that you can express yourself with caustic, harsh words, or you can express yourself with softer words. I put it to you and everyone that Wiley could have used perhaps cleverer. He could have been cleverer. Let's put that in there. You could have used cleverer words. I put it to you that it is incumbent upon societies, countries, tribes to be able to find ways to communicate, express satisfaction, likewise dissatisfaction in a manner that perhaps would not be self-harming. I put it to you that Wiley, even though he may have had very good points, I put it to you that due to his word selection, it's ultimately resulted in self-harm, rightly or wrongly. James, final words on this topic.
Yeah, it's just I think a slippery path is the best way of putting it. Like a slippery slope is before you know it, you're gonna have everyone say spouting the same thing. That's gonna be so centralist and so you can't differ for either side. There's gonna be so you can have no likable characters because everyone's gonna be the same. Because isn't there an old saying? It says like everyone's different for a reason and whatever and such. And if you can't be, if everyone's the same, wouldn't it be boring? And that's the same thing with speech and social media and everything like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Since that would be cool. Okay. So I've just done a video on Tommy Hearns. Who did he beat? He beat, what's that cat's name? What is that cat's name? Where is it? Should be in the. Oh, I'm reading the wrong damn thing. Let me go into my videos and I'll see what the title is and then I'll know what the video who I'm talking about. Okay, yes, so Tommy Hearns 40 years ago to the day beat Pipino Cuevas to win the WBA welterweight championship. And as a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat, I think, do I have the, let me share this. Let me stop sharing that and start sharing this. Where's Twitter? Boom. 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 Okay, so where am I going with my Twitter now? We gotta come out of that a little bit, and then we got a little bit of the fight footage. Notifications, I guess. What was this? Yeah, was that? I think that was that. Okay, so here it is. 40 years ago today. That's 40 years ago today. Tommy Hearns picks up his WBA World Welterweight title by beating Pepino Cuevas. Jeez. Boom, boom, boom. Hard knockdown. Okay. So let's drop that down. That's just a little bit of a boxing history for y'all. Something to digest. That was 40 years ago today. Bit of boxing history for you all. I could go into the second element of that, but I think no. We're coming up to the 2-hour mark. So don't really want to sweat the techniques. Got the main things out. What's going on here? Philip Khan Roberts kind of. Wiley said it in a specific way that accused his associates of seeing him as a slave. However, he has no proof that his associates feel that way whatsoever. I think it can be considered as slanderous. It could be considered as slanderous. That's one argument, absolutely. Or he could also be considered valid. His views could also be considered valid. So yes, it could be considered slanderous and it could be considered valid. What I say about Wiley is that he would have been mindful. He would have been mindful to choose his words more carefully. I think it would have benefited him. I think the way he did it only caused himself harm. Going further on from that, should he have been banned? Should he have been banned permanently? Lifetime ban? Is that the appropriate action? Tommy Hearns is the perfect fighting machine, absolute legend in a legendary time. Okay, so I'm just going to touch on this, then I'm going to touch on this because people are interested in the Hearns, in the Hitman. Okay, so go check out the video after you watch this, if you so wish. Handout blocking. Yeah, absolutely. I see what you're saying. Handout blocking the vision, and then whack. 2 big right hands. Beautiful boxing, Tommy. Okay, so I might as well pose this question then, since people are interested in this thing. Tommy Hearns. When I looked at the fight, and something I observed was that, just happened to notice, was that Tommy Hearns, I looked at his start date when he started fighting, and and then I looked at the finish date. I looked at his start date and I looked at his finish date, and I realized that Tommy Hearns was a professional fighter, professional boxer. His first fight and his last night fight spanned 29 years. So to be clear, Tommy Hearns was a professional fighter. His first fight, the time span between his first fight and his last fight was 29 years. James, I have to ask you, what's your first thought on that?
It's a very long time. Not much, really. Not much. There's not much to touch on there.
Okay. Because my thing is that when I realized that, I thought to myself, why the hell would a man with such a storied career fight for damn near 30 years? Why the hell would you do that to yourself?
You love it. You know.
Brain damage?
Maybe.
No, I'm talking about brain damage. What about the fear of brain damage?
Like I said, a lot of people, boxers just fight because they love it, don't they? It's the only thing they know, and it's, you know, brain damage comes with the act of boxing. Yeah, you know, that's why they get paid so much, is because they're going to get brain damage. It's not if they're going to get brain damage. When you get punched in the head, you're going to get brain damage. So you get punched in the head, you get brain damage, you get paid. That's boxing in a nutshell. And the best boxers don't get in the head.
And the smartest boxers get in and get out as quickly as possible to save the brain.
Exactly.
So yeah, when I realized that Tommy Hearns was a professional boxer, when his first fight to his last fight professional fight spanned pretty much damn near a 30-year span, had a 30-year span, 3 decades. I thought, wow, that is so unhealthy. That is so unhealthy.
When did he start, referee?
He started in 1977.
Do you know how old he was?
I don't know. Hold on a second. Where is the? Oh, there it is. So let me go. Let me share it. Who's this? Okay, let me share this. Stop sharing that. And start sharing. Boom. There it is. Boom. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's drop that down. That go away. That go away. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, it's come back. Boom. Okay, so where are we? Where's his date of birth?
1958.
Okay, there is 1958. So yeah, his first bout.
He was 19. There we go.
He was 19. And it was a 30-year span, so he was 20, so he was 49, 40, 48 when he finished. Yeah, 19 when he started, 48 when he finished. Damn.
That's time, isn't it?
Bizarre. That's damn well bizarre. And all that time only lost 5 fights. Damn, that's extremely impressive. That's extremely impressive. Considering that you expected to lose a couple on the way out, but he won his last one. Won the one before that, second to last, lost the third to last one, had a whole bunch of wins. So he lost very rarely. Lost to Aaron Barkley twice, Marvin Hagler, understandable, Sugar Ray Leonard, understandable. So yeah, it's a massive amount of wins and very few losses. But almost all of those losses were by KO, unfortunately. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunately. Yeah, very disturbing to me to see a guy who got to the top relatively early in his career, who lingered around for so long. I guess it was just the love of it. But when you see him now and hear him speak now, then that was a very, very heavy price to pay. 48 is at least 8 years too late. Yeah, I would say probably 15 years too late. Yeah. 40. Yeah, absolutely. Very disturbing. It's not something I thought about before. I just happened to look at the start date and the finish date and realize it was 29. He had a professional career of 29 years. Shave 13 off that, and what you got? You got 30. What? 29. You got 29. You got 26. You got 16. Yeah. So save 13 off that, and you got 16-year pro career. That's long enough.
So he did start very early, though. So
he did start very early. But that's all the more reason why you should get out early as well.
Yeah.
You know, you start early, get out early.
A lot of them did it though, like in that era. A lot of them went too long, like
well, no, not that era. I mean, the era before that, yeah, but that era was the Sugar Ray Leonard era. That era was the Marvin Hagler era. Those are guys who finished early. Okay, Sugar Ray came back a few times, but at least he gave his brain some time to heal. You know, whereas Tommy Down, who was just at the grind, he was just, wow. That, to me, it makes me feel bad that somehow he just didn't see the light. He just couldn't understand that he was best off out of it. Save your bloody brain cells, man, for goodness sakes. What a deadpan stare right into your soul. Yeah, indeed. Aaron Barkley was a major player back in the day. Ben got away with 2 foul punches in his first round TKO of Barkley. Yeah, that is true. Exceptional boxers can push it to 40. Exceptional boxers. Well, anybody can push it to 40. But it's not. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to do it.
So it's more that you're not supposed to get hit in the head, really, like or hit anywhere, because they reckon the vibration, even being hit in the body or being hit in the gloves, can actually resonate through and give you like brain damage.
Yeah. I guess that's a possibility. Marla says Sugar Ray Leonard was out at 27, and he still speaks well. Well, there you go. I think he came back a couple of times after that. But there you go. He did retire early. I mean, you get success relatively early. You got your game plan should be to retire early as well. Why the hell stick around? It's very, very, very unfortunate. It's very disturbing. I don't know. I think, well, it wasn't there some people who could just pull him away from it. They weren't educated on the dangers of long-term brain damage from concussions and such back then. Well, I think there were. I will say, in fact, I know they were. I watched this documentary about this particular British boxer, and I can't remember his name now, but he turned from boxer to gangster, and he's quite famous back in the 50s. And in the actual documentary, because the documentary was relatively recent, within the last 10 years, but they had a documentary within the documentary, and the documentary was of brain damage in boxing. Now, bear in mind that the documentary on the brain damage in boxing was filmed in the 50s. So they knew back then. I mean, how long's boxing been going along? At least 100 years. Okay, at least 100 years. And after 20 years, they would have seen that many of the boxers who were fighting 20 years ago, they were slurring their words. So inside boxing, it's well known. But boxers know, and boxers knew back then. Maybe not to the extent they know now, but they know about punch drunk. Boxers know the term punch drunk and punchy. They use the term punchy, and one boxer will speak to another boxer, and they'll say, "Oh, have you seen another boxer? Oh, have you seen? I haven't seen him in a while." The other boxer says, "Oh, I saw him last week." And one of the first questions the one boxer is going to say to the other one, how was he? How is he? Is he punchy? Is he punchy? So yeah, what was he going to say? What was he going to say, James?
See, let's come in with just like a funny one, but the Rocky 5, is it?
I don't know.
One of the Rocky films, I think it's Rocky 5. He actually has brain damage, and when he's meant to fight it's after he fought the Russian bloke and got hit in the head so many times, he had to stop fighting. He trained Tommy Morrison in that film. See that highlight. I don't know. I think that film is about 20 years old. So
right
then they were highlighting it to that extent, where Rocky, a major film star, highlighted the fact of boxers getting brain damage.
Yeah, what, in the film itself?
Yeah, in the film, he instead of boxing, Rocky trains Tommy Morrison.
Yeah. Oh, right. Because he wants to avoid brain damage.
Yeah, it's the Tommy Morrison. I can't believe you haven't watched it, Rafi.
No, I don't watch them things. I watched the first one, maybe the third one. What's the first? Back in the day, that was a long time ago. I don't watch the Rocky stuff at all.
Oh, I love the Rocky stuff. They're brilliant.
Yeah. I watched the first one. I remember the one with the Ivan Drago. But there's certain films I can watch them and I don't remember anything about them. I mean, they don't leave that much of an impression on me. You know what I'm saying? It's like a strange experience. It's like I just don't absorb it because I don't get into it. There's certain films I can just sit down and watch, and I could literally get up or walk out the theater and not remember what the hell just happened, because it didn't touch me in any way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it takes a certain type of film to actually touch me, and I'll remember it.
The Creed films.
No. I don't watch any of that nonsense. No, nothing like that.
Or Southpaw, that was a good one as well.
Listen, I'm a documentary guy. You know what I'm saying? To me, watching a film is like a waste of time. Personally, there's very few films. I'd rather sit down and watch a nice documentary. I think from a documentary, I get everything up. To me, fact is stranger than fiction.
I suppose so, yeah.
Well, that's just how I see it. Fact is stranger than fiction. You know what I mean? I don't need someone to make up a story when crazier stories actually are out there, actually exist. That's what fascinates me. Facts fascinate me.
There's so many out there as well.
Sorry?
And there's so many out there as well. There's more strange fiction than strange facts.
I don't need somebody to make up a story of a strange thing. Just tell me some real strange things that happened. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me. I'm not saying I used to watch. I just weaned. I've just gone off films, really. I just really have gone off them. Give me a good documentary. To me, I get everything that I need out of a good documentary that a film can give me and more. There are classic films, like The Matrix is one of my favorite films. Goodfellas is some of the gangster genres, the old mobster genres, The Godfather, all of that shizzle. All of them films are entertaining to me. Casino is a great film. But those are all films that were like, 15, 20 years ago? All of those films are like 15, 20 years ago.
Older than that, aren't they?
If not older. So there you go. Minimum age of those films is like 15 years. 40s is no age to be in a boxing ring. Marla, what James says, Sugar Ray had a stroke. Okay. Used to be called Punch Drunk Punchy. Punch Drunk or Punchy. Who's this guy? Cal Blundell is another name for, what's his name? Dixon Vinegars. Cal Blundell is another name for Dixon Vinegars, and he likes to pop in with some fraudulent statements from time to time. Nice one, Cal. I appreciate the fraudulent statement. Keep up the good work, me old buddy. Keep entertaining the troops. Where are we? Lennox Lewis still around, still sounds great. He had a good defense and left the sport at the right time. Exactly. That's what I wish that Tommy Hearns had done. And I feel kind of disappointed that there was nobody around him who had enough influence over him that could have persuaded him, do this for your health, get out for your health, find something else to do. This guy is, find something else to do. Dixon Vinegars. Yeah, Dixon Vinegars. Cal Blundell is one of Dixon Vinegars people. He's Dixon Vinegars. That is Cal Blundell. Oh, bloody hell. Dixon Cider, Dixon Vinegars, it's all the same to me, is entered the building. Where are we? Marla, drinking cocaine, stroke. Okay. Okay, now. No, he talks fine. I don't see any slowness in his talking. He always was deliberate with his speech. I didn't know it was widely known amongst boxers. I know in other sports like football and hockey, they would shake off concussions and immediately get back in the game. Gotcha. Wilder blames drinking cocaine, getting punched wouldn't have helped Sugar Ray. I am the same, Raphael. I find it hard to get into films. Yeah, waste of time to me. Just give me a good documentary. I'll watch one after this, no doubt. Should go straight to bed, but you know the Rafi. I'm a documentary addict. Tone says decades of hard sparring at the Kronk can't be healthy. Actually, I heard another hypothesis about that, training at the Kronk gym. Isn't Tone a previous troll? Tone, sorry, I might be wrong. Didn't you used to troll this channel, Tone? Or have I got you mixed up with somebody else? Sorry if I'm mistaken. But anyway, whatever. But I'm addressing the comments you're making now. Yeah, so there's a hypothesis that I've heard a recent hypothesis that Emmanuel Stewart used to keep the Kronk gym really hot. And they used to spar in really hot conditions. That was to prepare them for the hot conditions. Sometimes they would have to endure under the TV lights and just generally the pressure. Now, here's this. There's a hypothesis which I've recently heard that's recently come about, that with the conditions being so hot in the Kronk gym and them sparring as brutally as they did, the combination of the two could have contributed to dementia, mental dementia, the dehydration, takes away potentially from the fluid around the brain. There is no conclusive proof that that's what happened, but that is a recent hypothesis going into why some of the crunk guys might have suffered from unnecessary dementia due to the temperatures being deliberately kept high to simulate fight conditions. What do I say to that? I've got an opinion on that. I'm not going to give it now. If enough people respond, then I'll tell you what I think about that. But James, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think there's lots of science out there now, isn't there, about like saying like hot conditions, less oxygen to the brain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's scary really, because obviously these athletes they put themselves through grueling and terrible training to be the best, and to be the best obviously it takes that, and you know it's terrible, but at the same time, like I say, they get paid to do that, so you can't argue too much with it. They choose to do it, you know. If I chose to play rugby, I might get hit a few times, but
yeah,
what you do for fun, innit?
You do it for fun. You do it for fun. Something cracked me up in the chat as you were speaking. I just realized that Dixon Siders has got a battalion of, he's like about 3 people in the chat, because we got Lucian Cramp, who is Dixon Siders. We got Dixon Siders, who is Dixon Siders. And then we got another guy who is Dixon Siders. So Dixon Siders has 3 of himself in the chat at the same time. That's quite remarkable. That's trolling on a different level. Rafman, it's Lucian from Damien's party. You going to meet us at Greg's this weekend? Still in Covent Gardens? Yeah, you guys go ahead. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it this weekend, but you guys go ahead and have a corned beef pasty on me. Well, not on me. You guys pay for itself, but you know, that's, you know, it's my gift to you. Have a corned beef pasty in Greg's at Covent Garden this weekend. And don't forget to wear your masks. Okay? So that's very important. Don't forget to wear your mask. Tone says, well, where's Tone? Tone says, I've never been here before. Okay, Tone, no problem. Good to have you. There's just a guy who used to come here before. And yeah, but that's cool. Good to have you, Tone. Good to have you. Good to have you. Good to have you. Where are we? There's only one. Dixon Siders. Hey, Dixon, what do you call in? Dixon, what do you call in? When you call in, Dixon. When you call in, Dixon, you know, come on in. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Oh my gosh. OMG. So let me. So we got Cal Blundell, we got Dixon Siders, and Lucian Cramp, all the same person. Highly hilarious. Okay, so where are we? I remember him in an interview in the late 80s after he had retired, and he sounded good. I didn't know about the stroke, so many of them used recreational party things back in the day. What else we got down here? Yeah. They don't hold back at that gym. It's well known for hard sparring. Yeah. Let me just clean up this chat here, because I'm having to wade through. I'm having to send the link. I asked Dixon Siders if he wants to jump on. I tell him to jump on, and Lucian Cramp says send the link. OMG. 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 I need to get all these aliases up out of here today. Let's just put them on a timeout. Put them on a timeout. They're blocking up. Dixon Siders, what the hell's going on here? Go on, disappear. All of that shizzle needs to disappear. Blocking up the damn chat. Okay, where are we now? Hopefully I can see the proper comments. Dixon Siders in the house. Dixon Vinegars is in the house. James Jamieson says, new films are garbage. Garbaggio. How could I waste my time with that nonsense? What other comments we got here? Yeah, you don't have to have a long career. Just fight high quality fights and get out. Yeah. We're looking at. Yeah. Tommy the Hitman Hearns. He had too many. He boiled down too much before Hagler. Allegedly. Boiled down. Yeah, he always looked boiled down to me. OMG. Okay. I'm looking for any last comments up in here. I was only joking, Dixon Siders. I didn't really want you to jump on. I was just messing about. Dixon. Who's this? What's this all about then? James, according to Michael Pershwari, that's a very strange combination of names. That's English and, I don't know, English and Asian. Yeah, it's an interesting combination. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, according to Michael Pershwari, James, apparently you nicked a pair of goalie gloves from Sports Direct. Jamieson. James, we don't condone such. We don't condone such things. We don't condone such activities over here at Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, James. I'm very, very surprised at you. Very, very surprised at you. OMG. And on that note, James, I'm sure this happened many years ago. I'm sure this happened many years ago, and you're a changed man now. You know, you don't strike me as the type of guy who would steal a pair of goalie gloves from Sports Direct. So, you know, it's good to see the change and the metamorphosis and the transition that you've gone through in your life, James. I'm proud of you, bro. We're all proud of you. We're all proud of you over here at Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, James. The change in you has been remarkable. You know, you've gone from that to this. Michael Pershwari was the Bradford toilet seat. Damn. I can't believe, James, that you outed Michael like that. That is I don't know who Hank Shambani is. Hank Shambani. That's nice. That's right. I imagine James to be a gentleman who wears cashmere gloves, cashmere scarf, and the matching socks. So I don't believe this. I find this Sports Direct story that's difficult for me to accept. Very, very difficult for me to accept. But James, just one name, James. Your final words, your final thoughts, your final observations. One name, James.
Yeah. Reading the chat, loving it, you know.
We got a rotating cast of exceptional characters over here.
Yeah.
Exceptional. All lines of work, all types of gentlemen we have over here. Fine, splendid, upright, good living, good clean living guys over here. Oh gosh. Okay, James. So your final thoughts, your final words, your final observations.
My final thoughts is we should keep the free speech. We should keep it as it stands. Stop cancelling people. It's bad for everyone. And I think boxers are paid to fight. If they get punch drunk, that's the risk. I think that's all.
Yeah, well, I think that guys should get in and out of the game. I'm very disappointed that Tommy Hearns didn't have people around him who could have saved his brain cells. But if he was one of them hard-headed guys who wouldn't listen to people, well, you know, if you don't listen, if you don't, the fool, I'll leave people with this quote: "The fool ignoreth wisdom, and likewise instruction." What do you say to that, James?
I think that's some wise words. That absolutely wise words.
Yeah, so nice. 2-time, so nice. I'm gonna have to say it twice. The fool. My parting words to you, ladies and gentlemen, because I know there's got to be some ladies up in here. Maybe they're just too shy to say hi to the Rafi. I understand. But like I said, to all the ladies and gentlemen up in the chat, the people. Oh, there's some other shizzle. I got 2 gems. I got two-time. Stick around. I got 2 gems to drop on your asses. And the first one is this. I don't know if you can see it very clearly. Let me make it a little bit bigger then. Okay, I made it a little bit bigger. And it says, "The master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried." James, what do you think about that one?
That's summed up perfectly, I think.
It's perfect. And that is to any naysayers, you know, who see people doing something, trying to do something, and say, ha, you failed. But let me put it to you, let me put it to those people. The master has failed more times than you have even tried. That's the first one. That's the first gem I'm leaving you with. And the second gem, what's the second gem? The second gem. What did I just say before? I remember what it was. I remember what I was about to say there. And the last gem is the gem that I gave you before. Let me get the volume on this perfectly and leave you with the second gem. And the second gem, what happened there? That's not what I want to do. And the second gem is, "The fool ignoreth wisdom, likewise instruction." And with that, I say to you, James, everybody in the chat, everybody listening in the present, and everybody who will listen in the future, with that, those are my final words. And with that, I say to you, blessed. Oh, and see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. UK time, 4 p.m. Eastern, and 1 p.m. on the West Coast. Boxing Talk with Rafi. Mondays, Wednesdays, and some Fridays. Blessed.